This is shuttle launch control, T-minus 2 hours, 10 minutes, and counting. The astronaut crew of Bob Crippen, Rick Hauck, John Fabian, Sally Ride, and Norm Thagard have arrived at the pad and are in the process of leaving the van to go to the elevators and up to the 195-foot level. We have had a go for crew in from the NASA test director after checking with all of the other various test conductors who are monitoring this morning's launch. Everything going very smoothly in the countdown. That's one of the keys because the crew is not placed on board if there should be a problem that looks like it is going to prevent a launch on time. The crew up at the 195-foot level, taking a look down the walkway that takes them from the area of the elevators into the White Room, where they will complete their suiting up and for their entrance into the orbiter. Members of the closeout crew coming out to greet them and to and help them in their preparations. There are 2 elevators on the fixed service structure. After the astronauts have entered the crew compartment and have been placed in their seats and everything is ready, the closeout crew will depart the pad. One of those elevators will be locked out there at the 195-foot level should the astronauts need it. The other one will be locked out at the pad surface in case there's a need to come up from the pad to that level. The recovery ships, the UTC Liberty and UTC Freedom, have departed Cape Canaveral about 20 hours ago and are in the air now for the recovery, which is about 45 miles downrange of the Kennedy Space Center. This range varies according to our launch azimuth and has been as far as about 150 miles downrange. After reaching that area, about T-minus 8-hour point in our countdown, they began a visual and electronic sweep of that area to ensure that there were no ships that did not belong there in the area that might create a hazard when the solid rocket boosters came down. They have just reported that the area is clear for a launch, with the exception of the ships that are supposed to be there. Commander Bob Crippen now in the White Room, putting his Snoopy hat on, and then he'll be putting on his launch and entry helmet. During the first few flights of the shuttle, a full pressure suit was needed, and so the helmet's attached to that suit. However, nowadays, only coveralls are used, plus a special harness, which is used for restraint and emergencies. And Commander Bob Clinton being brushed off with a whisk broom, and now his shoes being wiped off so that he doesn't track any dirt into the clean interior. And he has just patted the suit technician on the back and is now entering the orbiter Challenger. Pilot Rick moving into the area, shaking hands with the technicians up there prior to putting on his vest. And he'll be the second one to enter the orbiter for the 7th mission of the Space Shuttle. The countdown clock at T-minus 2 hours, 5 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. This is shuttle launch control. This is Shuttle Launch Control, T-minus 2 hours and counting. Both Commander Bob Crippen and pilot Rick Hauck have entered the orbiter now, are in the process of doing their communications check with the Johnson Space Center and with other elements of the launch team. One of the first things that Commander Bob Crippen said when he got on the loop was, "It's a pretty day out here, and it's a good-looking machine." Everything has been going exceptionally smoothly in the countdown ever since it was picked up at 3 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time Thursday morning. The commander and pilot will spend some time on board in doing communications checks, and then start in, they'll have seats adjusted and be placed in the proper position for launch. And the two mission specialists, mission specialist one is John Fabian, who is presently in the White Room now, waiting for prepare to go in. He will be putting some sensors on, we believe, biomedical sensors, which will monitor some of the body function during his liftoff and on orbit. The next step in the preparations of the vehicle itself will be turning on the solid rocket booster rate gyros and a gaseous nitrogen purge of the solid rocket booster aft skirt, which is beginning now. The rate gyros are used by the orbiter navigation systems to determine the rate of motion of the solid rocket boosters. During their 2 minutes of flight, they will be carrying the orbiter about 35 miles. The simulation of the first motion of the shuttle is to the Johnson Space Center range and the range safety and firing room to test system, which indicates a liftoff. This signal also starts the clock, which keeps track of mission time at the time that the solid boosters ignite. Mission specialist, he'll be known as MS1 during the flight. John Fabian, in the process of putting on his vest and harness, which will be used to both keep him in place in his seat, and then also is used in an emergency should there be one occur. Dr. Steve Ride, standing by, will be the fourth person to enter the orbiter after John Fabian, and she will be known as MS2 during the mission. Both Dr. Fabian and Dr. Ride will be seated on the flight deck behind Bob Crippen and Rick Hauck, and Dr. Norman Thagard will be down in the mid-deck portion of the orbiter during the liftoff and the re-entry. The countdown clock continuing at T-minus 1 hour, 56 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. This is Shuttle Launch Control.
Now. And then the left dome valve switch. Left dome's on now. And we'll go channel 15, RGTA 1D and 1A. Roger. Okay, remove the switch guards and stand by. Ready. And on panel 16, JDA 2B, F2A, and F2B. Mark. Ready for the DRC assumes the engine valve switched on, and we're done. On now. Okay, would you like to go to panel 6 and put QPC 5 foot switch to backup? Okay, panel 6. Backup now. Roger, thank you. That keeps it. OSC, give me a reading when you're ready. Wait just a moment. Okay. OTC, as we read the question, wing volume adjust. He wants to restart and prepare everybody on that. We'll be with you momentarily. I'll be with you momentarily on that.
Let's see.
Go ahead.
Verify step 312.
How about 10?
310 would work.
Okay. COOS OTC.
Go ahead.
Can you verify 311?
311, sir.
Space Shuttle launch control, T-minus 1 hour, 53 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Dr. Thagard, helping mission specialist Dr. John Thagard, put on the biomedical sensors on his head, which will be used for monitoring some of the his biomedical indicators during the liftoff and part of the mission. He's now put on his little Snoopy hat over them and is putting on his launch and entry helmet. Putting on the biomedical sensors is a little hard because the astronauts cannot really see themselves there without a mirror, so Sally Ride giving him some help with that, and thinking that he looks a little there in his helmet. He just gave a thumbs up motion to the camera up in the White Room and to the other people up there helping him prepare. He has on his helmet now, the cover over the visor to protect it from getting scratched, and being helped now with the leads from his biomedical instrumentation to be placed in the proper position so that it doesn't get tangled when he gets to his seat. Astronaut Woody Spring, who is the support astronaut up there, will be helping each of the astronauts as they get settled into the orbiter. At the same time, he is helping the pilot and the commander. One of the which is required is to move those seats for the pilot and the commander into the position where they can comfortably be on the rudder pedals. And this is quite a job because the seats are on so that the astronauts are sitting on their backs during the liftoff, and it takes quite a lot of force to push them into the right position. So they need some help with that inside the cabin. John Fabian doing a little test with the medical instrumentation to make sure that he has the proper connection and he's getting a good contact between those sensors and the skin. The team which had been out on the pad looking at the ice on the orbiter are back now at the Launch Control Center and giving a report to the launch director, Al O'Hara, and the NASA test director and others as to what they saw. There's a little bit more buildup than they've seen in some areas, but nothing serious. The countdown continuing at this point, the clock at T-minus 1 hour, 50 minutes and counting. This is Shuttle Launch Control.
13. Okay, CDR, what we'd like you to do on F2 is to push the master arm, push button, press and release.
Okay, and we've done that. Roger, that one's done. 120 coming back in.
And you got a 1 track?
In progress.
Again, F.
That was OTC. Scene 310 is complete.
Roger that, thank you.
OTC, close on crew.
Go ahead, close that crew.
Okay, MS1 is ingressing at this time.
Roger that, thank you. OTC, you sitting your thumb wheels? Both. Quality 317's and output 1. Copy. Yes, OTC. You finish setting your thumb wheels to 120? Roger, thank you. That's 319 quality. Both?
Copy. They're both working.
GLS 2 and 2. Go ahead, GLS. GLS net is complete this time. Roger, thank you. Everything good. That's 245 is verified complete. Also 246 is up. Sheila did the dual interrogation, right? That's affirmative. Thank you.
TP 212.
Go ahead, TP.
Okay, reviewed STS-7 and everything's fine.
Okay, that completes step 216.
OTC, this is MS1. How do you read?
MS1, this is OTC. I read you 5 square on air to ground 1. How many? Over.
I read you loud and clear, and I'm going to try to get my visor closed.
Okay, we'll take another one as soon as you get it closed.
This is Shuttle Launch Control at T-minus 1 hour, 45 minutes and counting. Dr. Norman Thagard is in the process of putting on his biomedical sensors and also the vest which is used in the orbiter and in an emergency. We have had word from the ice inspection crew. Now their complete report was that this is the cleanest vehicle they have seen from an ice standpoint. The reason for concern is that the very, very cold liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen on board can cause some condensation and freezing moisture from the air onto the tank and onto the propulsion system of the orbiter. but this has been an exceptionally clean vehicle from that standpoint. And one of the test team members said we'll have to increase the launch rate in June if that's the case. Inside orbiter, Commander Bob Crippen and Rick Hauck have been going through their entry procedures. They have done such things as closing the visors on their helmets, checking the flow of oxygen and verifying there's no leaks, and then opening the visors once again. The seat heights, both fore and aft, have been adjusted, the rudder pedals adjusted so that they can comfortably reach them. Then the support astronaut checks the SQ cards and attaches the tethers. Mission Specialist Dr. Sally Reed now completing her preparations for ingress in the orbiter, in the process of putting on the harness which is used for restraint in the seat and would also be used in an emergency if there should be one. Dr. Ride will not be wearing the biomedical sensors, just Dr. Norm Thagard and John Fabian. Dr. Thagard has the distinction of being the first medical doctor to fly, and he will be taking a close first-hand look at the effects of motion on human in space. Prior to starting his medical studies, he had been a captain in the Marine Corps and a naval aviator, flying 163 combat missions in Vietnam. He then came back to the States and took his Doctor of Medicine degree from the Southwestern Medical School in 1977, and was an intern when he learned of the call for new astronauts and was selected for that program in 1978 also. Of course, the focus of media attention around the world has been on Dr. Sally Ride, who emphasizes that she's a mission specialist and a scientist who just also happens to be a woman. However, as the first woman to fly in space on board a U.S. spacecraft, history is undoubtedly going to focus on that as well as her accomplishments to date, such as a doctorate in physics from Stanford University. She's married to Dr. Stephen A. Hawley, who was an astronaut. And she was also selected in 1978 and served as capsule communicator for the STS-2 and STS-3 missions. During this mission, she's going to have a number of vital tasks to perform, such as launching the Palapa satellite and deployment and recovery of the SPAS-1 spacecraft, honors that she'll share with fellow mission specialist John Fabian. The countdown continuing at T-minus 1 hour, 40 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. This is shuttle launch control.
QC, we got MS2 going aboard now.
I copy.
And we have Dr. Thagard to go. Copy that.
OTC, this is MS2. How do you read?
MS2, I read you 5 square on air to ground 1. How me, over?
OTC, yes, thank you.
Okay, do you want to check it with the mask closed?
And OTC, MS2. How do you read?
I read you 5 square on 212. How me, over?
You're the same.
Okay, and Sally, if you stand by, we'll put the NTD on next second.
Okay.
MS2, NTD, aerogram 1, com check. How do you read?
NTD, MS2, you're loud and clear.
Thank you very much. You're loud and clear also. And MS3 is coming aboard at 30. Okay, all personnel, verify that you're ready for crew module close. TP? TP's go. And ACL? BCL's go. And APD? APD's go. Okay, and we'll go with that. Close out crew, OTC?
Yes, close out crew, go.
Okay, you have a go for close out of the crew module for flight.
I copy.
OTC, TP? Go ahead, TP.
I asked to verify they worked the Dave on the other O2 meter on the flight deck. There's 2 O2 meters to remove.
Roger. Close out crew, are you aware of that?
We have removed the O2 meter from
The flight deck?
mid-deck.
From the mid deck. Copy that, TP?
Yeah, there's an O2 meter on the flight deck that's also to be removed, a GSC type O2 meter.
Will you check on that, please? Close out crew.
That's been checked right.
Okay.
OTC, close out crew leader.
Go ahead.
Okay, informs me he removed the O2 meter flight deck yesterday.
Copy that, TP?
I copy.
We'll check after, we'll do the last check before.
Okay.
the MS3 contract?
S3, this is the OTC on airground 1. How do you read? Over.
Okay, you loud and clear on me?
I read you 5 square. You want to check it with the mask closed?
Okay. And
I read you broken.
okay, this is MS3 now with the mask closed.
Okay, and I read you 5 square. How many? Over.
And you're the same.
And stand by. We'll put the NTD on. MS3, NTD, airground 1, comp J. Read.
NTD MS3 last clear.
Read the line clear. Welcome on board, Norm.
Thank you.
Okay. CPSC, OTC. CBSC. Roger. Can you verify reception of the MS3 EOG? CBSC, 212. CBSC, can you verify reception of the MS3 EOG data? Roger, we'll verify Sigma 344, EOG MS3. Thank you. Ask OTC.
OTC, ask, go ahead.
Yeah, are you going to attach those unsnapped portions of the trash container on panel L14?
This shuttle launch control at T-minus 1 hour, 30 minutes, and counting. All 5 of our flight crew are on board now, are in the various processes of getting themselves ready for the launch. All 3 of them have gone through some sort of comm check now. Both John Fabian, Sally Ride, and MS3, who is Dr. Norm Thagard. Actually, Dr. Thagard is not the first physician to fly into space. However, he's the first to really have an assignment as a physician. Joe Kerwin flew on Skylab and also Story Musgrave on previous shuttle mission. As soon as the completion of the getting all 3 of the mission specialists properly into their seats, doing the comm checks, verifying their helmets are working properly with the oxygen, and hooking up the biomedical sensors for those that have it, and adjusting the harnesses and the lap belt. Then the astronaut will ensure that all of the items that are not needed for the flight are removed from the crew compartment. This includes such things as various panels which are used as flooring in the orbiter during the time that it's lying on its tail, actually, so that it's necessary to walk on some areas which you would not normally walk on should it be horizontal. There is also the helmet visor protectors, checklists, guards to prevent accidental tripping of switches for the reaction control motors, and bags that are used for personal equipment in getting in. And astronaut Woody Spring is in the process now of removing those items, passing them out to the mechanical technicians, the suit technicians, who are also part of that closeout crew. This has been very quiet during this part of the countdown. Most of it's devoted to the in and make sure that they're ready to go, and then going through a procedure to make sure that their comm is working and switches for the liftoff. The countdown continuing now at T-minus 1 hour, 27 minutes, 5 seconds and counting. This is shuttle launch control.
On UHF, how do you read? Over. CDR, UHF is loud and clear. TLB, OTC on UHF, how do you read? Over. Loud and clear. MS1, OTC on UHF, how do you read? Over. Loud and clear. MS2, OTC on UHF, how do you read? Over. Loud and clear. And MS3, OTC on UHF, how do you read? Over. MS3, loud and clear. And that does it. Checks are complete. We're going to turn you over to flight for the checks. Roger that. Flight OTC on air to ground 1. OTC flight, we're ready for the voice checks. Roger, you have a go for 365. Challenger Houston, good morning, and CDR and PLT configure for air to ground 1 voice checks, and give me a call. Okay, go ahead. Hey, Houston, Challenger, CDR, coming at you over air to ground 1. How do you read? You're loud and clear. How me? Okay, read you the same. PD, how do you read, Houston? And Houston, PLT, read you loud and clear. Okay, and you're fine. Let's configure the air to ground 2 check and give me a call. CDR, coming at you on air to ground 2. How do you read? You're 5 by me. Okay, read you the same way. And PLT, how do you read? Loud and clear, Roy. Roger, you're loud and clear, and let's configure for air-to-air check and give me a call. Work. Houston, CDR, coming at you to form air-to-air. How do you read? You're loud and clear, Rip. How me? Okay, I'll read you 5 by. And PLT? Loud and clear. Roger, and you're 5 by, and let's configure for a SIMO voice check with everybody. Give me a call. Houston, CDR coming at you, SIMO. How do you read? You're loud, grip with the standard barrel effect. Tell me. Okay, I'll read you the same. And PLT, how do you read? Roger, same. Thank you. Roger, you're 5 by MS1. You're loud and clear, right? Roger, you're loud, and here you from John. MS2? You're loud and clear. Roger. And MS3? You're loud and clear. Roger. All the air-to-ground voice checks are complete. Okay, ask OTC on air-to-ground 1. Yeah, ask OTC. Go ahead and figure the count. And progress. Close that through. Go ahead, close that through. Okay, AF has left the crew module. We're ready to start our hatch closure. Yeah, we'll go to close the hatch. Step 385. I copy. GNC, OTC. CGNC, OTC. Go ahead. Flight 386, your pre-flight count complete. You're ready to receive IMU at that. 236. Sorry, I couldn't read. The first one. You get the first one right now. Okay. We'll pick up on 390 by the clock. Okay, but we can decide that you're ready to see. Yeah, that's already. Okay, very good. That's what we're after now. That's at 386 Molly. Copy. OTC, CMTC. Go ahead, sir. Be advised, we'll need a TN for the closeout crew. Copy. That's a negative. Would you come back? They want a closeout on the next section by on the closeout.
I copy. We got NASA call right here.
Right. OTC on that one.
OTC, CDR go.
This is going to be a simulation.
I appreciate it. We have done enough.
CDP OTC. Go ahead. You pick up on 387, perform your GMT Delta adjust, present 49 on channel 152. Quality lead support.
All right, copy. Still going 152.
OTC TP. Go ahead, TP.
Yeah, was RNA pre-flight booking reported complete?
Yes, sir. I had that CNC OTC.
Go ahead.
CNC OTC.
Yeah, we are fine. We went into the pre-flight tower. It is complete.
Copy that, TP.
Copy.
Yes, they verified that step a moment ago.
All right.
Go ahead. Okay, we'll verify that the hatch is closed and locked and that the seal leak check is good at this time. Q will be getting up on the net.
Okay. DCO, you copy? TD OTC? Take a look at 396. Is that warm or not performed?
Yeah, 395 and 396 be performed. You want us to do that now?
Yeah, you can do it now. The hatch is closed.
Okay.
CGNC. Go ahead, CGNC.
Yeah, let's set up on 141.
Copy that, QC.
Great job, 141.
Please, ATS 212. CDPS 212.
Go ahead.
Okay, PMT, which was complete, ready for IMU ascent, seat flight align.
Okay. OTC, you got to pick that up by the clock.
We'll pick up at that 5 o'clock.
Right, thank you.
OTC, PVD.
Okay, PVD.
Okay, all the vent doors are in the normal purge configuration, and you can check steps 395 and 396.
That's right, thank you. Quality, we're done with 389 at this time. 390 we'll get on at 5 o'clock. I got it. ECL, OTC?
Go ahead, OTC.
Are you the new cabin leak?
That is we need a CMCC on 143, please.
Okay, CC, OTC, you ready to go to
143.
Okay. CDR, OTC on air to ground 1. CDR, OTC on air to ground 1.
Video head.
Would you stand by to perform a cabin leak check?
You've been standing by, sir.
Okay, on panel L2A1, sensor switched open until you get a vent iso truck back of OP.
Coming open at this time, Mark. And we have an OP on the cabin vent iso.
We can verify the vent truck back is closed.
And I can verify closed on the vent truck back.
Thank you, ECL.
ECL can verify.
Okay, and ECL performing a crew module.
This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 1 hour, 15 minutes, and counting. The pre-flight calibration of the inertial measurement units has been completed. The inertial measurement units, or IMUs, are used to tell the guidance system on the orbiter where it is in relationship to its launch pad here at the Kennedy Space Center. Almost immediately now, pre-flight alignment of the inertial measurement units will begin, and this countdown clock adjusted for the correct Greenwich Mean Time, which is a vital part of the navigational system as well. The Eastern Test Range range safety hold fire checks have begun. This test verifies the ability of the range safety officer to stop the countdown during the last seconds of the count. And Commander Bob Crippen has just been asked by the orbiter test conductor to assist in performing a cabin leak check. The cabin vents are closed during this, and the increase in pressure monitored. The cabin pressure will reach approximately 16.7 tons per square inch, and this will cause alarms in the cabin to go off, which will also test the safety systems additionally. Additional cabin leak checks were conducted later in the countdown. Everything going smoothly as we move to within just about an hour and a half prior to the launch at 7:33 a.m. during daylight time this morning. There are still built-in holds in the countdown remaining, a 10-minute built-in hold at the T-minus 20-minute point and a 10-minute built-in hold at the T-minus 9-minute point. The countdown clock at T-minus 1 hour, 13 minutes, and counting. This is shuttle launch control.
I guess this is a explanation of all those long nights we spent on Apollo. You had to climb out instead of go.
Roger. Much more fun staying.
I'll bet it is. We have a great ride today.
We're expecting that. CDR in there, so that's an alarm associated with the cabin after pressure is increase.
Roger, ECL, OTC, is on one.
Go ahead, OTC, copy.
Is that a normal thing with a master on?
That is correct. On cabin pressurization, there will be a master long.
So how about letting us know a little ahead of time? We don't like
Okay.
Shadow TC, that is a checklist, so we were not survived.
Roger. CTNC, OTC on 212.
Yeah, this is the rough fly out. That's got it.
Very good, thank you. That's 390, quality.
This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 1 hour, 7 minutes, and counting. The closeout crew on the 195-foot level of the fixed service structure has just about completed their tasks as far as getting all of the things out of the orbiter that don't belong there during the mission and closing up the door and securing it for the flight. One of the things which they have done during this period, we have been securing the door, is they have to place small plugs of thermal protection system material or tile in the holes which are used by the bolts for and the handles for opening and closing that door. There's about 6 people in the closeout crew. There's headed by the support astronaut Woody Singh. They have 3 mechanical technicians and suit technicians to assist the crew. The crew are all in their seats and do a series of checks, and there have been no problems that have been reported in any of the checkouts to the present time. The countdown continuing here at T-minus 1 hour, 5 minutes, 34 seconds and counting. The shuttle launch control.
T-minus 25 seconds and counting. The sequencer on board now controlling the final seconds. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. The body flap and speed breaker in launch position. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We go for main engine start. We have main engine start and ignition and liftoff. Liftoff of STS-7 and America's first woman astronaut. And the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Roger your roll, Challenger. Houston now controlling. Mission control confirms roll maneuver started. Ground time on all hands channel 217 doing. 20 seconds. Rush looks good. 25 seconds. Roll maneuver completed. 30 seconds. Challenger now 1 nautical mile in altitude. Throttling engines down now to 75% as programmed. 40 seconds. Challenger now 2.5 nautical miles in altitude. 45 seconds. Challenger now 3 nautical miles in altitude. 50 seconds. Coming up now on create a maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. 55 seconds. Challenger 4.5 nautical miles in altitude. Mark 1 minute. Pass through max Q, still looking good. Throttling engines back to 104%. Give it a go at throttle up. Challenger Houston, you're going throttle up. Roger, going throttle up. Nice ride. Mark 1 minute 25 seconds. Challenger now 11 nautical miles altitude, 8 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reaching 3,700 feet per second. Mark 1 minute 40 seconds. Challenger now 16 nautical miles in altitude, 13 nautical miles downrange. Crippen, Hauck and Company now coming into the last traces of the Earth's atmosphere. Challenger now 19 nautical miles in altitude. 1 minute 55 seconds. Challenger 21 nautical miles in altitude, 21 nautical miles downrange. Standing by now for solid rocket booster separation. Roger, set. 12 minutes 12 seconds. Confirm good solid rocket booster separation. The booster's falling away now. 2 minutes 20 seconds. Challenger Houston, your first stage performance was nominal. Roger, nominal first stage. That was Capcom Roy Bridges advising first stage performance. Onboard guidance is converging now as programmed. Challenger is now steering for a precise window in space for main engine shutdown. 2 minutes 40 seconds. Challenger 35 nautical miles in altitude. Standing by now for 2-engine TAL capability. Challenger Houston, you have 2-engine TAL capability. Roger, 2-engine TAL. Mark 3 minutes. That call up by Capcom Roy Bridges says the Challenger now has landing capability at Dakar Airport should 1 engine go out. Mark 3 minutes 10 seconds. Challenger's 3 main engines continue to run smoothly. Challenger's 5-person crew really moving out now. Velocity now reading 7,200 feet per second. 3 minutes 25 seconds. Challenger 45 nautical miles in altitude. A return status check and mission control by Flight Director Jay Green. 3 minutes 35 seconds. Crew aboard Challenger given a go to continue. 3 minutes 40 seconds. Challenger 48 nautical miles in altitude, 105 nautical miles downrange. Standing by now for negative return call up by Capcom Roy Bridges. Challenger Houston, negative return. Roger, negative return. 3 minutes 57 seconds. With that call up, Crippen, Hauck, ride, Fabian, Thagard, committed to space travel. Roger that. Four minutes 10 seconds. The flash evaporator has been activated to provide cooling for Challenger. minutes, 20 seconds. Challenger now 54 nautical miles in altitude, 155 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reading 9,500 feet per second. Mark, 4 minutes, 35 seconds. Challenger 55 nautical miles in altitude, 174 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reading 10,000 feet per second. Four minutes, 50 seconds. Challenger 56 nautical miles in altitude, 196 nautical miles downrange. Mark, 5 minutes. Standing by now for press to MECO.
Challenger Houston, press to MECO.
Roger, press. Lord, proceed.
5 minutes, 10 seconds. A press to MECO call from Capcom.
Machine.
That sounds great, Crip.
The press to MECO call says, should Challenger lose one engine, press on, keep flying forward. Challenger's engines have enough energy to achieve normal altitude and velocity at cutoff. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Challenger 58 nautical miles in altitude, 260 nautical miles downrange. Velocity now reading 13,000 feet per second. 5 minutes, 42 seconds. Standing by now for single engine TAL capability.